Hey guys, it's Elaine, the Ninja Life Coach, and welcome to my channel today. Today is Motivational Monday, so sit back, grab yourselves a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Hey everybody, I'm back, and Trixie is in here with me today, helping me make this video. I wanted to talk with you today a little bit about betrayal. And I know if you've lived on this earth any length of time, you have faced betrayal from someone. So if you've suffered a betrayal, and look folks, part of the grieving process is feeling like that you've been betrayed. If you've lost a spouse, if you've lost a child, if you've lost someone you love very dearly, you can feel betrayed by God, or you can feel betrayed by the person who passed away. You can feel like they left you too soon. Betrayal is a very big part of that. Here are some things that you can do. Number one, if you feel betrayed by God because your loved one passed away, or if you feel betrayed by your loved one, or if you feel betrayed in any way by another person that's still alive on this planet, this is one of the most important steps that you can do, and that is pray. Take that to God and pray to Him about it. Talk to Him about it. Just say, look, this is what happened. Lord, I feel that you betrayed me when my spouse died. I feel like I served you, and now I feel like you betrayed the trust and the confidence I had in you. That is perfectly okay to say that to the Lord. It's okay because you're being honest about your feelings. And God will work with that honesty, because if you keep that down inside and you bury that in there and you don't talk to God about it, what happens is that festers and it gets worse and worse and worse because of our preconceived notions of things we think we're not supposed to say to God. Look, folks, there is nothing that is off limits in my conversations with God. I have talked to God about literally everything, every aspect of my being. God is a privy to that. If it's something that I'm angry about, I talk to Him about it. If it's something I feel betrayed about, I talk to Him about it. And the reason is because over the years, I've learned that if I don't, that gets stuffed down inside of me and it comes out as an anger on other people. So you want to make sure your heart stays tender and soft towards God. And you want to talk to Him and say, look, I feel betrayed. Now, how can I deal with that? What scripture verses do I need to go to gain help with that? What can I do? And you know what? God will show you what to do. If you get in His Word and you start reading His Word and praying, God will show you exactly what to do for those times when you feel betrayed by Him or anybody else on the planet. The second thing you can do, if it's feasible, and I'm saying, I'm going to put this caveat here, if it is feasible. Some betrayals are so bad that it is just not feasible to have contact with those people. If you were in an abusive situation, by all means skip this step and don't even consider it. But if it was someone who went behind your back and did something to you, and you feel like it's a safe environment to have a conversation with them, talk to them. Tell them, because they need to know how you feel. A lot of times when people feel betrayed, the other person doesn't have any idea that what they did was considered by you to be a betrayal. So why not just get with them and clear the air and say, hey, when you did this, this is the way I felt. I felt like you betrayed my trust. I told you something in confidence, but yet you told everybody else in the office, for example. So one thing you can do that's really important is have a conversation with that person. Now, if the person that you felt betrayed by is no longer with us, one thing I do recommend, if that is really just eating at you inside, is to sit down and write them a letter. Tell them in that letter exactly how you feel, what they did that made you feel that way, and take that letter and place it someplace safe. If you want to burn it after you get all that out, that's fine. If you want to take it and then open it up in a year from now and see how far you've come from that point, that's perfectly fine too. In fact, I think that's probably a little bit better solution, because that way you can look back and say, you know, I used to feel like this, but now it's a year later and I'm in a good place with that. So the ultimate goal at the end of the day when you've been betrayed is to have joy and peace in your heart. The hearts of the person who did that, that's between them and God. That has nothing to do with you. And the only thing you can control in this situation is your response to that. The third thing you can do after you have prayed and after you've read prayed and read the Bible, then after you've talked to the person, maybe confronted them with what they've done, is you need to move on from that. It is so easy when we're hurt or betrayed for us to get a bunch of people together, especially women, and have a little hen party and have like a pity party about it. And look, folks, please find a confidant that you can talk to about it. I'm not saying don't do that. Please do that. But every single friend you have on your Facebook news feed doesn't need to know about this. They just don't. They can live their lives happily and not know what happened between you and your betrayer. They don't need to know that. Let me tell you something, ladies. Sometimes what happens here is if you get on social media and blast that person, or if you tell a whole bunch of people what went on, you and the betrayer may eventually reconcile, but here's all this other group of people that's now mad at them, and they're going to fuel that fire and make it worse. Your friends are going to, of course, take your side. People that affirm you constantly, encourage you, they're going to be upset on your behalf that someone betrayed you. So they're going to take your side on this, and really they should, because you did nothing wrong. But remember that down the road, as you grow towards healing, what you've said to this big group of people may or may not be the way you feel a year or two from now. So be very cautious about that. Of course, share it with a good friend. Of course, share it with a couple of trusted confidants and have them pray with you. Of course, that's perfectly fine. But you don't need a large group of people that you have to talk with about that. And if it gets bad enough that you just can't deal with it, seek counseling. There is nothing wrong with seeking counseling. Nothing. I've been in counseling. It's okay. I think everybody in the world needs to see a counselor. So please make sure you get the help you need, whether it's through counseling, coaching, or a trusted friend, because you can move on and you can move forward with that. Now let's look at the fourth thing. The fourth thing is you're going to need to set some healthy boundaries with that person. So if that's someone that you regularly encounter on your daily life, like a coworker, and you know they've gone behind your back and they've done all this stuff to you, you got to set those boundaries. Because they're not going to, obviously, because they don't care. They're going to come in and wreak havoc whenever they can. So you're going to have to set the boundaries. So when they come in and try to pull you into another something, and trust me, these type of people will, then you need to say, you know what? No, we're just not going to discuss that. I'm not going to discuss that with you. Be pleasant and say, hello, how are you today? And when they try to engage in more conversation with you, leave it at that. Just say, well, I'm going to my desk now. I'm going to get to work. If they follow you over to your desk, just say, I'm busy. I can't talk right now. Don't be rude, and pray that God blesses them with an opportunity elsewhere. That is one prayer that God usually answers if you're not praying in malice or in a mean spirit. Just say, Lord, I pray that you would bless those people with an opportunity elsewhere. And you know what? God may bless you with an opportunity elsewhere. But either way, that person that has caused that malignancy in your life is no longer a part of your life. Now, I'm not saying we can't always pray somebody out of their life, and God may not bless them with an opportunity elsewhere. We don't know the mind of God. God may have that person in your life right now, especially to help them, or maybe to help you to refine something in your life. But that doesn't mean you have to go all in with that person. That doesn't mean that you have to be their best friend just because you've forgiven them. And that brings us to the next point, which is you do eventually have to forgive them as a Christian. You do have to forgive them. But forgiveness doesn't mean, okay, you're going to be my best friend and we're going to hang out at Starbucks and we're going to roll each other's hair, paint each other's toenails, and have a sleepover. That is not what that means. What that means is you take your hand away from their throat. That's what it means. That's the best description of forgiveness that I have ever heard, and I read it in that book, The Shack. You take the hand away, you take your hand away from their throat. So you no longer want to strangle the very life out of them. You don't wish them any ill will, and you want them to go along their path. And that is true forgiveness. You don't have to have them into your life. You don't have to have them come and eat lunch with you every day. You don't have to have that. But you have to come to a resolve in your heart that they are not going to stop you from moving forward, because forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. It's for you. It's to keep you moving forward. It's to keep your heart soft and pliant and malleable by God's hands. Has nothing to do with them. It's all for you. They may never ask you to forgive them. And 90% of the time, people that are betrayers, they don't care if you forgive them because they're on their own little narcissistic way. But you have to forgive them. You really need to try to work on that. And it may take a while, but that's okay. Life is a journey. Life is a journey. It's not just a road trip. It's not a day trip. It's a journey that you take over and over a bunch of miles. And forgiveness is part of that. And the last thing that I want to encourage you to do after you've done all that stuff is take a good hard look at that person that did the betraying. Take a look at them. Take a look at their life. Take a look at what their life actually looks like. And when you feel you can, pray for them. Just pray for them. Just say, Lord, help them today. Help them to turn to you and be a better person. Now, again, that doesn't mean you have to engage with them again. That doesn't mean that you have to do anything with them again. You never have to talk to them again if you don't want to. But praying for them releases something in you, and it helps you to move past all that mess and all that drama. So let's look at this. Let's break this down to something that we can all, as women, relate to. Let's say you like Billy Bob over here, and you've liked Billy Bob. You and Billy Bob have been hanging out, going for ice cream and doing all this kind of stuff. Y'all been doing stuff together, all this stuff. Well, here comes Lulu over here, who's your best friend. And Lulu decides one day that she's going to look at Bobby, and she wants Bobby for her boyfriend. So she goes over here with Bobby. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? All this stuff. So Bobby, and she and Bobby hook up. Now, where are you? You've lost Bobby, who was a really good friend, and you've lost Lulu, who you thought was a good friend. And I guess you thought Bobby was a good friend too, if that came down to it. So now you've lost two friends. Do you ever have to be friends with them again if you don't feel like God is telling you to? You don't. You don't ever have to go back and go all in with those people again. You don't. But you do have to forgive them. You do have to bring them a cup of cold water if they're thirsty. You have to feed them if they're hungry. You have to take them a blanket if they're cold. But you don't have to share the intimate thoughts of your heart with either one of them ever again if you don't want to. Now, God may tell you something different, but just as a rule of thumb, you do not have to trust them again with the same trust that you trusted them before. Most women have had that type of betrayal at some time in our lives. And it's a shame because women need to protect women. But when you're 17, 18 years old, you don't think like that. And let me just say right now, some people have never gotten past the age of being 16 or 17 years old mentally. So if you're dealing with those kinds of people, you don't have to be intimate with them about your thoughts of your heart. You don't have to. All you're required to do as a Christian is to forgive them. These steps will help you to move forward with that process of forgiveness and looking back on that with, wow, I've come a long way. Because you don't want to be 60 years old and looking back at Lulu and Bobby, okay? And, 50 years has gone by. And you're still mad about that. Because when you allow something like that to happen, it affects your entire journey in life. So let God help you, and let God help you move forward with that. Because that is the key, is to allow the Holy Spirit to do His work. And before I close today, I want to say this right here. If you have been betrayed by somebody, I want to say this categorically without anything else. It is not your fault. You didn't ask for that. There's nothing you did to bring that on yourself. There's nothing that you could have done to prevent it. So don't even go there with that negative self-talk. There's nothing you could have done. There's nothing. The only change that you can bring about is in here. People are going to do what they're going to do. If they're going to be betrayers, they're going to be betrayers, and let them go, be that. But they can be that out of your life, and just forgive them and go on. Does it hurt? It hurts a great deal, folks. I had a situation that happened to me back when I was in junior high school, and to this day, I still remember that situation. That situation colored a lot of things that happened in my life, and a lot of the decisions I made based on what happened with this thing in junior high school, because it taught me that people are not to be trusted. And that's not true. What is true is some people are not to be trusted. Not all people, but some. So I don't need to have put up a wall around everyone, because there are some good, trustworthy people out there. So if you let God guide you and move you along your day, you'll be just fine. Listen, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day today. God bless you all. Maranatha, folks. Bye-bye. Love y'all.